I don't know exactly where Daddy hit the wall. I don't know exactly where his car came to rest. If I was going to have some kind of a reaction, I didn't want to have it in front of everybody. My dad loved racing here. He loved Daytona. And he loved winning there. He's proud of it. Daytona was maybe even more special because it's where Dad had passed away.
NASCAR fans. There are places in this world that hold more than just memories. They carry the weight of everything we've lost and everything we've learned to live with. And for Dale Earnhardt Jr., that place is Daytona International Speedway. So what do you do when the place that gave you everything also took away the one person you loved most? For Dale Jr., Daytona wasn't just a racetrack. It was sacred ground. It's where he and his dad built memories. It's where Dale Sr. won his long-awaited Daytona 598. But it's also where the sport's biggest heartbreak happened. It's the place where his father, Dale Earnhardt Sr., the Intimidator, NASCAR's most feared and beloved icon, slammed into the wall on the final lap of the 2001 Daytona 500 and never walked away. And more than 2 decades later, it's still the place where pain and legacy collide in one emotional lap. In the new Amazon Prime docuseries Earnhardt, we finally see Dale Jr. let his guard down. No pit crew, no helmet. Just a son pulling up to turn 4, alone, wondering how it would feel to stand where his father died. And y'all, what he felt? It wasn't what anyone expected, not even him. This story is raw, it's real, and it's not just about racing, it's about forgiveness, family tension, and finding peace in the most unexpected place. From Dale Jr. sharing his side of story of loss to his sister Kelley, expressing their concerns over visiting their dad's grave, let's dive into the final chapters of Earnhardt. Stick around. You've never heard the Earnhardt legacy like this before. There are moments in life that split your world into 2 halves, before and after. For Dale Earnhardt Jr., that moment came on February 18th, 2001, the day his father, Dale Earnhardt Sr., the Intimidator, died in a last-lap crash at the Daytona 500. It's the kind of truth that doesn't just live in the past, it haunts it. In the final episode of the 4-part docuseries, Dale Jr. recounts something he's never fully shared before. His first trip back to Daytona Beach after his father died on that racetrack. It was July. Daytona was sunny. The air was light. Dale Jr. was rolling into town with a few buddies. Windows down, music blaring. For a second, everything felt normal. Then, it hit him. Dale Jr. recalled, "We're jamming out to music. It's the middle of the afternoon. Sun's out. It's a beautiful day. I got it in my head. I was like, hey, I want to go see if we can go inside the track, because I couldn't drive past that track and go into town and hang out just knowing what had happened there." They pulled into the speedway. No fans, no race cars, just the empty skeleton of a place that had once been the Earnhardt family's cathedral, and also its graveyard. Dale Jr. got out and walked toward turn 4, the same part of the track where, just months earlier, his dad's life ended in a violent head-on crash with the wall. Dale said, "I don't know exactly where his car came to rest, but I kind of came to that general area, and I just got out. I wanted, I think really, to see how I would feel. Would I get emotional? Would it be too much? Would it feel too heavy? Would I have a problem with it? I didn't know." He stood there. Just stood. So many emotions collided at once. The joy of his dad's only Daytona 500 win in '98, the cheers, the high fives from pit road. Then came the wave of heartbreak, the loss that echoed across the NASCAR world. You'd expect anger, maybe grief, maybe fear. But what Dale Jr. felt in that moment, it was freedom.
At the same time, there was this weird feeling, but there was this really strange feeling of freedom. And I felt guilty even about feeling that way at all. I felt so guilty.
That guilt came from knowing this. He was still here, still racing, still dreaming, while his father, the face of NASCAR, was gone.
I mean, I'm still in the very beginning of my, hopefully, long career. I kind of decided then and there that I wasn't going to hold anything against the track. Daytona was maybe even more special because it's where Dad had passed away.
But let's rewind. Before forgiveness came trauma. Back in 2001, right after the crash, Dale Jr. rushed to the hospital. Every step down those sterile hallways felt like an eternity. I'm hustling through halls, looking in every room. And I look over and there's Dad on a table. Seemed like 8 or 10 doctors surrounded that table, and they're all working, he remembered. Then came the words no child ever wants to hear. Finally, somebody grabbed me and told me that Dad was gone, or Dad passed away, or Dad didn't make it, and I could go back into this room. And so I go back into the room, and there's no doctors, there's just Dad. In that room stood Teresa Earnhardt, Dale Sr.'s second wife, quiet, devastated. But Dale Jr., he couldn't do it. Dale said, "Teresa was standing over Dad, and she is just so sad. I didn't want to go any closer. I stood at the door, and again, Dad's 15 feet away. I didn't want to remember him that way, so I just left. Just left." That hospital scene wasn't just the end of a life. It was the start of a fracture in the Earnhardt family. Kelley Earnhardt, Dale Jr.'s sister and longtime business partner, revealed another layer in the documentary, one that hits hard. "She's so extreme that we might get arrested," Kelley said of their stepmother Teresa after their father's death. Kelley wasn't even allowed to help plan the funeral. Her name was left out of his will. Teresa inherited the trademarks, the property, everything. And the grave? Kelley says she and Dale Jr. weren't welcome, so they stayed away. What followed was a slow-motion collapse of a racing empire. Dale Jr. left Dale Earnhardt Inc. in 2008. He moved to Hendrick Motorsports. DEI, under Teresa's ownership, faded into silence. NASCAR fans saw the headlines, but the pain behind the scenes? That ran deep. And that's probably why the docuseries didn't dwell on it. Because sometimes, silence says more than drama ever could. Yet through all the pain, Dale Jr. didn't stay stuck. He became a team owner, JR Motorsports. He stepped into the broadcast booth. He built a second legacy, and he talked through his podcast, through documentaries, through this very series. Because sharing isn't just healing, it's honoring. And when he returned to that silent Daytona track, something changed. He said, "I just had this feeling that I shouldn't be mad at it. I shouldn't dread going to Daytona." For Dale Earnhardt Jr., the journey wasn't about letting go of his father. It was about letting go of the weight that came with his death. Because that place, the one that took his dad from him, is also where his father raced like a warrior, loved like a giant, and lived like a legend. And now, it's where Dale Jr. found peace. Daytona didn't just take, it gave the world Dale Earnhardt, and it gave Dale Jr. the strength to carry his father's flame without letting it burn him alive. If you haven't yet, go watch Earnhardt on Prime Video. Not just for the racing, but for the healing, for the truth, and for the story of a son who stood at turn 4 and finally forgave. What do you think about the new revelations that came to light through the docuseries? What do you think about Dale Jr. and Intimidator's relationship? And how do you feel about Dale Jr.'s sister Kelley, who stood like a rock by his side? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's get this discussion rolling. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for more interesting stories and updates from everything NASCAR. Do share this video with your friends. Until next time, keep the conversation going on, lucky doggone track.